Good evening and welcome to the Formula Racing League Assetto Corsa Competizione. The 10th and final round of the Taco Tuesday series takes us to the Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari in Imola, Emilia-Romagna, Italy. Tom Cairns in the commentary position, going through everything you need to know for tonight's event. 15 minutes of qualifying with a 90-minute race coming up to wrap up the season. Apologies for the delay. We were meant to be on around about 15 minutes ago, but due to technical issues, the start of the broadcast had to be put on hold, but we've just got in time before qualifying begins, with Law ending the practice session on top with a 1 minute 42.1, followed by Aldori in second, with Ray in third place. And as the session concludes, before a wheel had even been turned, the champion had been crowned in between the last race and this one. Rapiduc announced that he wouldn't be racing tonight, or confirmed that he wouldn't be racing tonight. And not only that, the other driver who could have been challenging him for the championship this evening, Davis Jr., had to withdraw from this evening's event as well. So it is not possible for Rapiduc to be caught. So he is crowned champion of the Taco Tuesday series. Congratulations to him. The battle for runner-up, though, is still up for grabs. Looking at the table, Davis Jr. is ahead by 8 points over MGK, with Law a further 12 points behind. Now, if MGK can score at least 13 points this evening, that would be enough for him to leapfrog Davis Jr., as long as Law, Moritz or Vodka don't score heavily. And there's also the Teams Championship up for grabs. 4 teams in the running. Promotion Motorsport are on top. That's the team with Law and Ray. They lead by 7 points over the FRL Elite Motorsport squad. Hutchison and Robinson are in that one. Suga Racing Team are a further 8 points back, with Rapiduc, who is not here tonight, but Rui is. Well, Rui should be in for qualifying. I haven't seen his name come up yet, but they are mathematically in the running anyway. And the other team in the running, TK Rex Motorsport, with Morex and Bavizel, 20 points off the lead. So it's up for grabs is the Teams Championship. We'll keep you right up to date with what the situation is in that one. So qualifying is underway. There is Busov, who's just gone over the line to start a lap. Did very well last week, did Busov. Came very close to picking up that victory, but he had to settle for second place. He's done very well since switching to the Audi. He was in a different machine earlier on in the season, but because of him switching cars, he had to relinquish all of his points up to that stage in the season before he raced the Audis. But it's been a good decision so far, and that could well put him in the frame for next season in good shape. Definitely, anyway. And he's on the lap now here at Imola, as he looks to. And the good news is that the camera, the alternate cameras are working again on my keyboards. This is fantastic news. I didn't think it was going to work, but now it does. So, as we watch Busov come round to the Variante Alta, he'll be one of the first drivers to post a lap time in this session. We are expecting around about a 1 minute 42 for pole position here. There is a championship point up for grabs for pole. For a race win, it's 40. Second is 38. Third is 36. 2 points difference between each position from 1st to 11th, and then from 11th to 30th it's a 1 point difference there. So if you finish the race, you will score points. And one thing to note as well is that only a driver's 9 best scores will count towards the Drivers' Championship. The good news is that there's only a very few of the drivers who still may have to drop points after tonight's race, depending on how this evening event goes. That doesn't impact the championship at all, because some drivers have either DNF'd or has missed a race, so they would not need to be dropping points on that occasion. So 1 minute 42 so far for Robinson. He is top of the timesheets. Aldori in second place. We're just watching a few other cars going over the line. Will Freeman go over, 11th fastest, slowest of all the times so far. We've had the 777 go over the line to start a lap. We've got the 321 here over the line. That is Frank, last week's race winner. Did very, very well indeed. He's got himself up there. He qualified third on the grid and converted that into the victory. That was by far his best performance of the season, and he'll be hoping to end the season in the same way, putting him in good stead for season 9. You see more and more drivers cross over the line. Well, Hutchinson's yet to get a time on the board. El Prentice has gone over the line, but no time yet. We've got Mertens coming through as well in the McLaren. The timing line is not until where the green flag is there, look, where the marshal's waving, so it might cause a little bit of confusion for when the race does begin, but I'm sure the drivers are familiar with the Imola circuit on this game cycle anyway. And Davis Jr. sending everyone the best of luck. So we go on board for a lap with McCoskey of this Imola racetrack, so into Tamburello. Nicely done through there, using the curves on the exit. Although we've just come away actually from McCoskey actually. Do apologise. That was not meant to happen. And we're struggling to get the alternate camera back up again. So my apologies on that one. And I can't seem to get the cameras working again, unfortunately, the alternate cameras. That's a huge shame. Would have been excellent to kept that going, but I think it's for the fact I've used the controller to get it onto the drive thing. But anyway, it is what it is. We'll just have to keep an eye out on the action that's going on tonight with what we've got. And apparently there's meant to be a new patch released this Thursday, according to one of the drivers. So fingers crossed that will impact the keyboard shortcuts on the cameras in a positive way, because it didn't in the previous patch, or in the current patch that we're on, that was released about a couple of weeks ago. Well, Merton's gone over the line in 21st. Bukowski's coming through on the exit with Vatsa. One of 3 drivers yet to post a time. And this lap time of Bukowski puts him up to 16th. We've got Mackenzie and El Prentice have yet to get times on the board. Mackenzie's coming through with Vatsa now. And it looks like Blair is right behind him in the number 144. No, it's not. It's Nils, who has been competing in the last few rounds, showing some decent pace, although he had a couple of races to forget in Watkins Glen and last week at Spa. Well, Mackenzie's gone over the line, only 22nd place for him. El Prentice yet to get a time on the board as we speak. Milden's 11th at the moment. He's currently in the pits. Moritz goes up to 2nd, though, with a 1 minute 42.3 in the Mercedes AMG. So definitely a good effort from him there. And Aldori has gone to the top, so Robinson's down to 4th position. Aldori 142.0. He's yet to get a pole this campaign. The drivers who have achieved a pole position this season have been Rapid Duck, MGK, Law, Robinson, Ray Thomas, P. David, and Drifter. Aldori is not one of those drivers, so it's nice to see another different pole sitter here at Imola. We have got 24 drivers in the lobby at the moment. We're expecting 24 full-time drivers and 3 reserves, so making up a 27 car grid. I can't identify which 3 are not here yet. Well, Drifter is one of them, I think. Oh, no, Drifter is not one of them, I should say. Glover is not in yet, and neither is Cull. Those are the 2 reserves who are not... Oh, Cull is in. My apologies. Cull is in there, so Cull has gone up to 8th position. He's just coming out of the pits now. Vodka is up there in 4th position. Moritz looking to improve as Laws has gone up into 2nd place. Moritz looking to displace him with over 5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. And it was not an improvement on that occasion, so he stays where he is. So Aldori is still fastest, as we are seeing a few more drivers crossing over the line. Fabizel has gone up into 6th place in the Audi. That's a great effort from him. He's struggled in the last few rounds, but he's coming alive here so far, doing a super job. The top 14 separated by a second, or just under it. Milden in 14th place, Jay Prentice is 16th. El Prentice coming into Ravazza, and he's coming out of the last braking zone, heading towards the line. Is this going to be El Prentice's first lap time in this qualifying session? And it is. He goes 22nd. So Mackenzie's down to 23rd place. He stopped on the circuit, back in the pits, and he'll probably have one more go at it. Robinson's gone back to the top though with a 141.9, so that's a good effort from him. He's been on pole this season already at the Hungaroring. Busov up there in 4th place. Moritz is 5th, but he's heading over the line now, and he does not move up the order, unfortunately, on that occasion. Stays where he is. Got the 3-2-1 coming through. That is Frank, who at the moment, last week's race winner, is only 19th. There's a lot of work to do from where he is at the present moment. The number 14 heading through as well. That is Moggs, race winner at the Hungaroring. He's only 20th so far. We've got the 2-1-2 coming through. That's Vuvka, who will be starting the lap. Next behind him is the 6-7-8 of Jay Prentice, and this lap time for him is not an improvement. The 2-2-6 of Law, 3rd. Can he go to the top with this lap? The answer is no. Stays where he is on the 2nd row. A couple more drivers heading through. I don't think they improved on their times. So it's Robinson who stays top for now, with over 2 minutes remaining. El Prentice is coming through, no improvement from him. Stays in P22. 2-1-7 coming through. That is Makovsky, who's still only 21st right now in the Aston Martin. We've got the 3-2-1 of Frank, who is looking to improve here, and he does not improve on this occasion. Stays where he is. Cool is down to 10th place now. Aldori on circuit, as is Law, but Robinson is still top by only 600. Busov is in the pits. Moritz is out on circuit. We'll stay with Aldori for the time being as he's coming towards Ravazza now. Now Aldori, whose best qualifying this season has been 4th in Barcelona. Looking to make up for maybe an improvement. Get on to the front row. He's on the front row at the moment. Aldori with still some work to do. Law is coming over the line though. It's not an improvement, so he stays where he is. 58 of Ray coming through. Can he move up the order? The answer is no. Got the number 43 coming towards the line. El Prentice, that is. Still looking for an improvement from before. He doesn't quite do it there. Got the 500 of Clayton. He stays in P8. And the clock is heading towards 0 now, so the drivers coming over the line now will be completing their last laps. Frank is in 20th place. This is his last lap he's about to complete now. It's not an improvement, stays where he is. Milden, only 17 in the Ferrari. How is Moggs getting on? He's coming through. And he goes up to 9th with that last effort. So Moggs goes up to 9th place in the Ferrari. That's a fine attempt. We've got Aldori. Can he go to pole position here in the Audi? Aldori does go to provisional pole. Robinson is knocked off right at the end. What can Law do though? He needs to find over half a second to displace Aldori. He gets onto the front row, but it's not enough. Aldori will begin the last race of the season from pole unless Ray can find time with this last effort. Stays in P10. We've got Kull and MGK on the far slopes. MGK only 16th at the moment. One of the drivers going for second place in the championship overall needs to find a last gasp effort. Kull heading over the line now. Goes up to 9th. MGK doesn't improve, so he will start 16th on the grid. So it's Aldori, who many tipped to be challenging for the championship at the beginning of the season, hadn't quite shown the form throughout most of it, really. Will start the last race of the season on pole position. Law, a good effort to get himself up into second place on the starting grid, with Robinson down to 3rd right at the end. Busov on the second row of the grid, continuing his good form in qualifying. And I think that's the 5th race in a row he's qualified in the top 5. That's a great effort from Busov. Really, really consistent in the second half of the campaign. Morris and Vodka will line up against each other on the 3rd row. Propizzle and Clayton on row 4. Head of Kull and Moggs. Ray and Dim Adjuster on the 6th row. Andy and Freeman on row 7. Nils and MGK on row 8. MGK starting 16th ahead of Ben Milden in 17th. Jay Prentice in a respectable 18th place with Hutchison, Frank, Mikowski, McKenzie, L. Prentice and Mertens completing the grid. We're not expecting any more drivers, I don't think, to make their way into the server or the lobby, however you want to call it. I'm just trying to work out who's actually missing. I think Blair is missing tonight, even though he had checked in to race. So he is seemingly not around tonight, but at least Nils is, and we've got a 24 car grid. So Glover and Kull are not around, either the reserve drivers, so we've only got one reserve driver present for tonight's race. So we're just waiting for the cars to go back onto the grid as the drivers prepare for the formation lap here at Imola, situated in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy. It's within 20 miles of AlphaTauri Formula One team's base in Faenza. Imola will be hosting Formula One again this year and for the next 2 years after that under its contract. also be hosting the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, as well as Italian Formula 4. And other racing events, including European Le Mans, who did the 4 hours of Imola last year, and we're doing so again in 2023. It's a lovely venue, is Imola. It's a historical one for both good reasons and bad. First broke ground in 1950 before it was opened 3 years later. But it wasn't until 1980 when Formula One first raced here in place of Monza that was undergoing some redevelopments to the circuit. And so the Italian Grand Prix was held at Imola that season, of which was won by Nelson Piquet. And then after the success of that event, Imola was granted a stay on the Formula 1 calendar in the long-term future for 26 years in a row of the San Marino Grand Prix, 1981 to 2006. And it was a 14-year hiatus before Imola came back onto the F1 calendar in 2020. It's been on the calendar since, albeit under the stage title of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Max Verstappen has won the last two events, or the last two Grand Prix at Imola. He'll be looking to make it three in a row this year. The Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, a little bit later this year than it was of the last couple of years. He's staged on the 21st of May as part of the triple header with Monaco and Spain. So it'll be a 90-minute special, 2 pit stops that the drivers must do during the course of it. As of when they choose to do it, well, that is entirely up to them, but they must make those 2 mandatory stops with at least tyre changes. We'll run down on the grid once the formation lap does begin. 24 cars on the grid, rowing to go, eager to end the season in a blaze of glory. Could we have another different race winner to wrap up the campaign? Well, Rapid Duck has won 3 races this season. Law has won 2. MGK, Morex, Moggs and Frank have won 1 each. Aldori has yet to win a race this season. His best result being a 7th place finish at Silverstone, which was also a 90-minute special. He could really do with a strong showing tonight to prove that he can still compete at the very, very front. It's a very competitive field, is this. And the lights are on the cars, so presumably it's heading towards sunset. We could well be under the lights by the time the checker flag is out. So run down on the grid then. Aldari is on pole with Law in P2. Then we've got Robinson and Busov on the second row with Morex and Vuka right behind. Fizzle and Clayton are next with Cull and Moggs are on row 5. Then it's Ray ahead of Dim Adjuster, Andy ahead of Freeman, Nils ahead of MGK with Milden and Prentice on the 9th row of the grid. Hutchison and Frank are 19th and 20th. Mikovsky and what would have been McKenzie, he will start from the pit lane. El Prentice and Mertens round off the grid. So Aldori's average qualifying this season has been 15.1. which is the worst record out of all those. I'm just trying to think who else has had a worse average qualifying. Well, Aldori, who's sitting in, I can find his name on the sheets here, is 26th in the championship overall. And if you were to exclude the reserves, only Mackenzie, J. Prentice, Rui, Andy, Palermo, L. Prentice, Mertens, Dim Adjuster, Frank, Blair and Pavizel have had worse records. So it's sort of in the middle really of how all the other drivers have managed in qualifying during the course of the campaign. So we're ready to go for the start of this race here, Imola. In terms of how many laps, I would say we are looking at around, if I can get my maths right, we are looking at around 54 laps. There'll be no more than that, so maybe around about 52 or 53. I would probably say 52. The drivers are in their rows of 2 now, so they'll be looking to get as good of a start as possible. Morrick's almost trying to break through the field there. The cars are ghosted whilst the formation lap is on. They are at the speed limit of 70 kilometers an hour, and now we await for the green flag to be waved by the marshal on the pit straight. The season finale begins right now. Aldori got a good start. There was a little nudge there from Law as he tried to tuck in behind. And now they come towards Tamburello for the first time. Aldori heads the field with Law in second place. It looks like Busov has kept hold of third position ahead of Robinson. So Busov ahead. So Robinson tucks in behind. And then we've got Morex who has dropped back a couple of positions. I think that's Vodka and Pavizel who have both pretty much got ahead there. Although Morex has fought back. So Aldori leads, Law second, Busov third, Robinson fourth. The top 4 remain the same as what they were on the grid. Vivka is 5th, Morex 6th, Clayton, Moggs, Pavizel and Cole are your top 10 so far. Mackenzie's come out of the pits as well, so he'll shortly catch up to the back of the field. But as we watch Cole and Pavizel go toe-to-toe into Piratella, Cole runs wide after contact between him and Pavizel. And now through Aqua Minerale they come. And Pavizel running wide. Going through there. And Cole is able to get back through. And the driver seems to have behaved themselves throughout all that. And now through Variante Alta they come. Very sensible through there. There's a little bit of a battle going on further behind. That'll be Andy and Makovsky going toe-to-toe. And that's Mertens who's dropped back behind those two. For the moment at least. Aldori is coming round to complete the first lap in the race lead. So there's the line. Long way to go yet, and Clayton's in the pits already. Now, is this a strategic stop? Milden's in as well, so both drivers are wanting to get there. First mandatory stops out of the way, which is very early in the race. At least it can get them back out in clean air, providing they're not having to move out of the way of the leaders when they come round. But Aldori's under threat from Law already. So Aldori in front. So Milden and Clayton have done their stops now. Will rejoin at the back, but at least they've got their first stops done out of the way. So through Aqua Minerale they come. And towards Variante Alta they come. Avoiding those yellow sausage curbs at the chicane, not causing too much harm. And they're coming towards Ravazza. Law thinking of having a look on Aldori, but to no avail. We'll just stay behind for now. There's no point going for it too soon just yet. There's a long way to go in this race. It's not one in the opening stages. Now, as it stands in the battle for second place, Law is in P2 in this one, so he would collect 38 championship points, which would move him onto 242. We've got another driver in the pits, that is Kull, who's made his way in, so he's the third driver to go into the pits. Vodka, who's running in 6th place right now, would not move ahead of Davis Jr. I think Law, with where he is, he would move in front of Davis Jr. So Law, as it stands, would be finishing in 2nd place in the championship overall. And in terms of the time, as far as the race is concerned, it's shown as 8:21. Now, the races in this tend to, as we watch Aldori and Law fight for the lead, down the inside goes Law, and he's through into the lead. Brilliant move there from Law. Got the move done, got a good exit coming out of Acrominarali, and he's moved ahead of the Audi driver. So Law takes the lead, an important one in the fight for second place in the championship. We saw a stop-go penalty being given out to Frank, who just came into the pits, so it's a 30-second stop-and-go penalty. Back to reality, it seems, for Frank, in what's been a very daunting season, it has to be for him. Putting aside the race win of Spa 7 days ago, it hasn't got any better for him here. So there are your leaders, and Busov will be looking to make a move on Busov in a moment. Just got a little bit out of shape on the exit of the Villeneuve chicane. Won't go through on this occasion, so we'll just sit back for now. Moritz in P5, Fuvka, Moggs, Dim Adjuster, Vizzle and Freeman in the top 10. MGK has quietly made his way through the field and is looking to pull off a move on Freeman right now as they come towards Piratella. Doesn't go for those. Got Ray Thomas right behind, looking to get past. Using the curves on the exit, and that's just a reminder of Frank's penalty. You can cross over the line one more time, and then the next time around he has to take that penalty as Ray goes down the inside of MGK into the very end. So there was a little touch, but nothing more. Ray through and up to P11. That was an excellent move. That was a very similar move to what his teammate Law did on the previous lap for the race lead. So it's looking good as far as the team's championship is concerned for Law and Ray, with Law in the lead and Ray in 11th position. No rain is expected at this moment in time. Now, as far as the race is concerned, in terms of what time it finishes on circuit, it speeds up the time elapse by 2, so we should finish around about 11 PM, which will be in darkness when the checker flag comes out. Fuvka in 6th place. Moritz is closing in on Robertson in the battle for 4th. Moritz came close to a win this season at Paul Ricard when he was duelling with Law throughout most of the event. but lost it in the final few laps when Law pulled off that brilliant manoeuvre round the outside to wrap up win number 2 of the campaign. And Law could win 3 races this season, which will put him level with Rapidoc. Freeman in 10th behind Professor, just taking it easy. And Infinite Racing, who had gone into this round 3 points behind Code Brown Racing in the battle for 5th place. Now Squeegee Squirrels and Towering Monkeys M&S are also in the fight, as Ray seems to have run wide there. Busov did as well. And it looks like Robinson's going to make a move on Busov here, as Busov didn't get the best of exits coming out of Tamburello, and Robinson should be alongside to go through here, and he does so into Villeneuve. So Robinson through and up to P3 in the BMW. That was a great move. Capitalised on the mistake, and he didn't need a second invitation. Busov is looking to fight back though, but he's got Moritz breathing down his neck. Moritz won't go through on this occasion, he'll sit in behind, but Busov just needs to get back into a rhythm a little bit and not get too carried away. It's still very early days in this one. Now Aldori, right up behind Law. Can he do what Law did to him a couple of laps ago? He thinks about it, he knows he's too far back, and he knows it's too risky to go for it. Now there's Freeman behind Befissel. Oh, and Freeman goes straight on at the very anti-Alta. He lets the Audi back through. And I think Ray will get through on him as well, because Freeman will have got dirt on his tyres and he's not going to have as much grip, so Ray should take advantage and get through here. Freeman down a position. Jay Prentice is having a good race so far though in P12. That's a really good drive from him at this moment in time. Jay Prentice has had a best finish of 9th that came at Alton Park in round 7. His teammate L Prentice has picked up 98 points. Jay Prentice only picked up 39. Jay Prentice has missed 3 races this season. Jay Prince has only done 6 out of the 9, as Frank has taken his stop and go penalty now. He's well down the order as McCosty comes in for his first stop. So if you have just joined us, we do welcome you. Feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Formula Racing League continuing to go from strength to strength. There's all the details in the YouTube description in how you can get involved. There's a list of all the events of which the FRL does. There's the Discord group. There's the website where you can have a look at everything you need to know about what the FRL has got to offer. There's all the news, the rules, the console tiers, the PC championships as well. There's even a Patreon page as well on the FRL website, of which you can have a look at if you wish to help out as well. And of course you can follow the FRL on the Instagram and Facebook pages, so you can keep up to date with all of what's been going on. If you subscribe as well, you can be notified of the races that have been broadcast, including this one. Don't know for certain when next season will begin yet. It's likely it's going to be in April, either mid to late April or something like that. But there'll be an announcement as to when the Taco Tuesday series will resume for its 9th season. Rapid Duck will be going into that as the reigning champion. I'm sure there'll be plenty of the drivers who will be looking to knock him off his perch. Tim Manchester running a fine race there in P7. And so far this season he's missed the last 3 events for whatever reason. His best result being 2nd in round 4 of the championship. That was in Kyalami. He almost picked up the victory, but Rapidov was awarded it because he suffered a connection issue on the last lap, which robbed him of the victory, but the stewards rightly gave him the win on the basis of that. There's Busov pitting him from 4th place. So he's coming in to get that first pit stop done and out of the way. As Law looks to come through, and I think someone has had a moment somewhere. Is that Makovsky who's gone off track? It is Makovsky. He's been in the wars. And his season not ending in the best way. Keeps his car out of trouble. He's got the field coming through. He knows it's not their fight. Tries to stay out of the trouble. It's back out on track now, but he's got another flurry of cars coming through. Now Makovsky, 25th overall in the standings, 68 points. Missed the first race, but he competed in all the others. His best finish has been 12th, which came last week at Spa. And so it's going to be another race to forget for him. He's already had a DNF at Kyalami. At least he can come in and get his final mandatory stop done now, and he won't need to come in again, but he's already well out of sync with the leaders. As we watch Moritz go for a move on Robinson, around the outside as they come towards Tamburello, who's going to brake later of the two. I think Robinson braked a little bit later than the Mercedes AMG, and he stays ahead. Well, lap 10. This race is running by very quickly. Nearly 17 minutes into this one. We've got another driver in the pits. I think that's Makovsky's come back in. Now, will he decide to continue? I think he might as well. Robinson and Moritz continuing to go into battle. And down the pit straight they come again. Moritz looks for a move. He's closer this time. He goes to the inside this time. Robinson couldn't quite shut the door in time. That's going to allow Moritz the high ground going into Tamburello. I think there's going to be a change of position here, is there? No, Robinson was able to brake later than the Mercedes to keep hold of 3rd place. That was amazing, that from Robinson. That was great defensive driving. So he sits in behind. Vodka is closing in as well, whilst these two are battling on track. The skies are continuing to fade here at Imola, as much as the season is. closing its curtains on another campaign. There's Aldori in P2, 1.7 seconds off the lead. And Ray is ahead of MGK, and I think he's ahead of Fizzle now as well. So Ray goes up to 8th position. So MGK is in 10th. And Mikowski is back out on circuit now. I think he's a couple of laps behind the field. It's still early days yet. He may scrape another point or two out of this from where he is now. As Moritz closes in on Robinson again. Oh, and Aldori's gone off track. Aldori made a mistake at Tamburello, and that's going to allow Robinson, Moritz and Vodka through. We heard a car go off track. We couldn't tell who it was to begin with, but when we looked at Aldori, it was his car. So Aldori down to 5th position now by the looks of it. Behind Vodka. Robinson up to 2nd place. Law's lead now 6 seconds over the rest. And we've got the 555 in the pits. That is Mertens, who's coming in for his first stop of the race. Well, looking at the field, Busov is behind Clayton, so I don't know whether Clayton had a better pit stop than Busov did. But Clayton is having a good time on the stint that he's on. Could well make up a few positions in the first round of stops. So Law goes over the line. Mertens comes out of the pits. Have to move out of the way of the leaders though. There's Robinson coming up behind. Will Mertens be aware that he's there? He should move out of the way on the exit of Tamburello here and not get involved in this fight yet. He's pulled over to the left and he allows Robinson to go through. So will he allow the Mercedes through though? This is a tricky one here for Mertens. He needs to try and lose as minimal amount of time as possible. But he can't get in the way of the leaders, as he has to adhere to the blue flags. So the timing of his stop has not been the most convenient for Mertens. So Moritz has gone through. Aldori's gone past now. Dylan Just has gone through as well. Moggs coming through the Variante Alta. Now when will Law, Robinson, Moritz and co decide to pit in? Gap is 7 seconds. And now Dory is ahead of Vodka, I think. Looking further down the order, although Busov is already further down the field. I think Aldori got it back in front of Vodka somewhere. Aldori back up to 4th now. Robinson in P2. Moritz in P3, Aldori, Vodka, and Dimitrov is closing on leaders now as well, so he's making good progress. Oh, and there's a spin. I think that's Mertens who's spun at Variante Alta. He hasn't hit the wall, just took too much curb on the entry. He's having to wait for the field to go by. And he gets going now, so Mertens rejoins without any more drama. The Law goes through turn 1. Well, I say turn 1. The beginning of Tamburello is actually turn 2 because there's a kink before drivers have to go through Tamburello. Officially 19 turns here at Imola, some of which are kinks. The majority of them are proper corners. Mods in P7, Ray P8. I think Vissel's lost a position to MGK, who's gone up to 9th position now. Variante Alto they go through. Mills and Freeman. Andy J. Prentice is in 14th place now. There's Mackenzie, who had started the race from the pit lane. Having a quiet time of it so far, but I'm sure he'll have taken that at the beginning instead of getting involved in someone else's mess. And there's Clayton and Busov. Nose to tail. And you'd have thought that if the leaders were to pick now, Clayton would be leading the race. As Andy comes in the BMW. He'll be hoping for a good end to the season. I think he's only finished once in this campaign. Unless I'm mistaken. No, he's finished 4 times, but he's had 3 DNFs. And he missed a couple of races. His best result this season has been 5th at Alton Park. Moritz is closing in on Robinson still. The drivers are coming down the pit straight again. Law's lead was nearly 7 seconds in the last sector. 6.6 seconds as Robinson's closing back in a little bit. Moritz and Aldori still giving chase. Vivka's dropped back from those 3. Is there anyone else ducking into the pits at the end of this start? I don't think there is. There's Mackenzie running in 16th place. He's the lowest of those that haven't pitted yet. We're nearly half an hour into this one, and as daylight continues to fade, doesn't seem to be putting Law off too much. Boost has got the fastest up of the race so far. If we look at the times that he has posted, or the lap time he's posted, 1:42.4 is his best lap. The fastest time we saw in qualifying was a 1:41.5. So we're nearly towards those kind of figures, as the air and track temperature is decreasing, which could help the tyres a little bit. Now Moritz is behind Robinson again, trying to get into the slipstream, trying to force the BMW pilot into a mistake. But Robinson will know he won't be having any of that. So into Tamburello they come. Will the BMW driver stay ahead on this occasion? He does so. And Moritz looks to have a look. He might have to surprise Robinson here. And Robinson holds him back for now as they go through Tosa. And El Prentice comes in for his first stop. Down the hill they come. Oh, Robinson went a bit too far wide at Acqua Minerale, and that's going to give Moritz the chance he needs. The door is open, and I think there's going to be a change in position here, unless Robinson can then outbrake the Mercedes driver into Variante Alta. No contact made by the looks of it. Robinson had to ride over the sausage curbs, and now Moritz will be looking to the outside of Robinson into Ravazza, which is going to be very hard to pull this one off unless he can outbrake him, which he does so. And Moritz is not quite there, I don't think, and Robinson is still in P2, and all of this is allowing Aldori to close back in. So we could have a three-way fight for second position. Moritz looking to the inside. He's in the good spot to complete the place there as El Prentice just stays out of the way of these three. Moritz on the inside of Robinson. Can't quite do it. Although Robinson's run wide, goes over the sausage curb, and the contact made between the BMW and the Mercedes. And Aldori was able to take advantage. Aldori back into second place now in the Audi. Moritz is in front of Robinson. He may feel aggrieved after that, but that's racing sometimes, and you've got to put up with it. Moritz has got Aldori in front of him now, of which he'll have to try and pull off a similar move to how he'd been battling with Robinson just now. So Law's lead is nearly 10 seconds over the rest of the field. No pit stops made between those at the top of the leaderboard, but that will change soon. No rain is expected for the next 15 minutes anyway. I doubt we'll receive any, or we'll get any rain at any point during the course of tonight's race. It's anyone's game. As we watch Moritz close in on the back of Aldori for second place. There's another car coming out of the pits there. I couldn't quite tell who that was. We'll find out in a moment who actually came in. I think that might have been, was it Milden or someone? I don't think it was Milden. Milden pitted ages ago. I think we've lost a car in this race as well. It's not Mikoski or Frank. I think Mertens might have gone from this race, unfortunately. So I think that's his first retirement of the season. As we see a couple of drivers for Bizzle and Nils in the pits. As the crew go to work. Law is on his 20th lap. No one in front of him. Just focusing on the driving. Ahead of him is the number 16. That is Andy, who is already pitted. Goes down the hill. So Law goes through. There's a car in the pits. That is Nils, is just coming out of the pits as we speak. We'll go back to the battle for second place though, because Aldori is in front of Morex. Robinson in 4th place. And then Ray comes in from 8th. MGK will go through up a position. As Clayton comes up to lap Frank, who is having an off night by his standards. Now will Frank move out of the way of Clayton, who's coming through? He isn't doing so yet. You can see the blue flags are being waved. Now will Frank allow him through yet? He hasn't done so yet. Well, we're nearly halfway through this one. It's been a really straightforward fight, not too many incidents. There's Clayton. He's looking to lap Frank as Ray exits the pits now. And he's behind Andy down in 19th. Now Moritz is right all over the back of the gearbox of Aldori as they go onto the pit straight. Will Moritz give it a go? And here they come. Moritz thinking about it. Does not go for it. And coming out of Tamburello. This is the Villeneuve chicane that they're coming through. And Aldori remains in front. Track and air temperature down to 17 degrees. Moritz right in the slipstream. Aldori goes defensive. Moritz will go to the outside. Into Piratella. Aldori leaves him space and remains in front for the time being. The curbs are pretty flat here at Imola, excluding the yellow sausage curbs, which have been a controversial topic over the last 5 or 6 years at least. And Clayton's a couple of seconds behind Mackenzie. Has he been able to get Frank out of the way? He has done now, so we can focus on the Lexus ahead as Law continues to lead, but we want to stay with this battle for second place. This is the closest battle we've got on circuit. I'm not sure Moritz is close enough to have a go this time. Now, will he go for it into Tamburello? Probably won't do, although he's right in the slipstream. He's going to go for it on the inside. He just needs to outbrake him into the corner, and he doesn't quite do it there. Or they might go for it this time around. Is he through yet? No, he's not. Aldori's still has still got his nose in front. Moritz will continue to do battle, tries to get as good of an exit out of Villeneuve as he can. I think this could be Frank or Moritz up into second place now, and he's done it. Although Aldori's still there, Moritz outbraked himself into the Tosa hairpin. Aldori's still not giving up. This is great racing. Hopefully it will not end in contact, and it won't do on this occasion. Moritz in the Mercedes AMG up into second place. Excellent move. Great racing. And it didn't end in tears, thankfully. And Clayton, who's in P13, is closing up behind Mackenzie. Mackenzie, who started from the pit lane. Clayton, who has made the first of his 2 mandatory stops, is up behind the Lexus now. It will get pitch black before the checker flag is waved. Law completing his 23rd lap. Just the one retirement so far. Mertens retired after that spin at the Variante Alta, which put him well out of sync as Robertson comes in from 4th place. So this is an undercut, an attempted undercut that Robertson is about to execute. Will he get out in front of Clayton and Busov there? I don't think he will. I think because he's been stuck behind Moritz and Aldori for so long, this is going to allow Clayton and Busov to go through, and I think Kuhl will go through as well. I think Milden's probably too far back as we see more drivers coming into the pits. I think is that Hutchison coming in? No, it's L. Prentice who's coming in for his final stop at this stage of the race. Clayton's gone through. Busov has gone through. Kuhl has gone through. Now, where's Robinson? He's still in his box. Milden will go through then. Robinson's only just leaving his box now. I think Robinson should get out in front of Babizzel, but I could well be wrong. It's going to be close, but I think Robinson will have the upper hand on this occasion over Babizzel. Although Robinson needs to get up to speed. Robinson's tyres won't be up to temperature yet. Babizzel's have already done. He needs to keep him behind to stay in the hunt for second place in this race. He's had 4 drivers perform an undercut on him, and that's not good news for Lewis Robinson. Aldori is now nearly 14 seconds off the lead. In fact, I think Moritz made a mistake somewhere, and Aldori's got back ahead of him. So Aldori has made it into P2 again. Dimitrov is in 4th, ahead of Vodka. And Jay Prentice is in for the first stop of his. His teammate is already in. Prentice should be leaving his box very shortly. He's been in there for some time. Clayton's moved in front of Mackenzie now. He's overtaken him. Clayton could be in the running to win, to probably be in second place. I think the race win is too far ahead of him, but second place is still very much possible. Clayton going into tonight, 16th in the championship. Finished every single race, believe it or not. If he was to finish this one, he would have to drop his lowest score, which has been 22nd, which is achieved on 2 occasions at the Hungaroring and at Alton Park. So he dropped 9 points, but should he finish second, he would collect 38. So he improved his score by 29. Law, Morris and Dim Adjuster pitting in all at the same time now. So we should expect to see Clayton go through up to a net second place. Although Law is in the pits actually already, so Clayton could in fact be in the net race lead once everyone has done their stops. Well, Law has exited his box now, but Clayton's already through. This race is pulling out nicely for Clayton. Now Clayton, as far as the team's championship is concerned, he's teammates with Fighter, who's not around this evening. He was one of the absentees. And a stop-go penalty has been given to Morex. That's a disaster. And it's not the first time that he's been penalised for speeding in the pit lane this season. We saw it earlier in the campaign at Watkins Glen. And history has repeated itself. And that pretty much sums up Morex's season, quite frankly. Not good news. Podium chance gone for Morex. Halfway through the event now, as Mackenzie has done his first stop. Aldori and Vodka are in. Morex is also in. MGK stays out for now. He will have a brief stint at the front, I should expect, before he comes in for his first stop. And Hutchinson is staying out as well. He's had a quiet time of it tonight. We've not seen too much from Hutchinson, but that's probably a good thing because he's kept his car out of trouble, unlike in a lot of the other events so far this season. There's Clayton, who will go through into third place on track, but will be in the race lead once everyone else has stopped. And Cull, believe it or not, will go up into second place in this race. There's Milden, who's also got in front of Law in the first round of stops. So he could be up to third place once everyone has done their first stops. So those who had pitted at the beginning of the race, well, they've played a very, very effective card. Clayton now in the lead, Cull in second. And Vodka has just come out of the pits. He's not in 5th or 6th. He's further down than that. Just waiting for the sector times to update. Busov is in for his final stop now, though. So he's playing his card again. As we watch Busov fight it out with what looks like Ray. Ray runs a bit wide and he stays ahead. Or he's through, I think, anyway, on Moggs. So he's gone through what is now 11th position. Busov has rejoined behind Freeman. There's Dim Adjuster, who's already done his last stop. This is his second stop of the race. So Busov and Dim Adjuster can go to the end now. Morris is back in the pits to get his stop and go penalty done. He will fall out of the top 10 for sure now, unless misfortunes do strike to others. Hutchinson comes in from second place. Clayton comes in early to get his last stop done. MGK will stay out in the lead. So we could well see Cull, the reserve driver for tonight, have a stint in the lead if MGK does pit in soon. It's been a respectable season from MGK. Started second on the grid at the Hungaroring. He's been on pole twice. He's won in Barcelona. He's had a third, a fourth, a fifth and a sixth. He's had an average qualifying of 7.3 going into tonight. He qualified just outside the top 10 though. This evening. And he's looking good for a good result tonight. He can keep his pace up. He's having to go through back markers though. And there's Kull behind Moritz, who is well and truly out of contention for a top 10 finish. There's Milden in the pits to get his last stop done now as well. A mixture of strategies going on, which is not a bad thing to see. And there's Aldori getting held up in traffic. And it's allowed Robinson close in. That was Mackenzie who got in the way there. No such issues. MGK looking very strong. Looking very good. Kull could be the one to win this race if he can keep his pace up. If he's leaving it until around about 10 minutes to go, we could well expect to see a quicker pit stop than we've seen from most of the others. We've seen it before in previous races. And El Princess is back in the pits. He's a long way down the field, and I think this could well be the end of his race unless this is going to be his last stop of the event. Moritz down to 19th place and with a mandatory stop still to come. $40 minutes to go, 50 minutes done. And Aldori, how far is he behind Robinson? Well, he's 2.3 behind. Robinson is over 13 seconds behind Law, who was undercut in the pits by Kull and briefly by Clayton, but Clayton has done his second mandatory stop. He's done all his stops now, so he will not need to pit again. I think El Prentice is pretty much all but out of the race now. Second retirement. Watch Aldori trying to hold off Vodka. It's hard to see under the lights as to who is who, but thankfully we've got the position numbers shown on the driver's windscreens and the car numbers on the side of the car to help out. Aldori is trying to put a lap on Mackenzie, but Mackenzie isn't quite playing ball at the moment, so he needs to think carefully what he decides to do here. And Aldori is not happy at the moment. And understandably so. Mackenzie gets out of the way this time, presumably. No, he's still in front of them. Now will Aldori go through this time? He does. Oh, and Mackenzie makes contact with Vodka! That was way too late from Mackenzie. He spun round, didn't quite take notice of Vodka's presence, and has paid the price for it. We saw it a couple of races ago at Watkins Glen when he was touring back to the pits with damage, misjudged his turning point into the last corner, trying to go into the pits, and collided with Brandon Glover, I think it was, that he came together with, and Mackenzie went reversing back into the pit lane, at which he was penalised for pit lane speeding. It wasn't quite the case here, but that could have been so much worse because Vodka's race could have been easily ruined because of Mackenzie's lack of judgment. Vodka's got away with one, I think, though, but Mackenzie has lost time even with the 2 stops completed. I doubt we'll see him in the top 10 by the end of this race after that now. So Robinson's in 4th place, Law 3rd. Not panicking at the moment, just controlling his own race. He's got a stop to do still, though. "30 laps have been completed. We are looking at around 54 laps of a race here. Jay Prince is coming in for his last start. MGK comes in for his first one. He's built up a 26-second lead over Cull, but Cull has already done his first stop. Now, how quick will this stop be for MGK? Race winner of Barcelona, twice a pole sitter this season. And this stop of his should be done round about within 15 seconds, I would say, given how long he's been out for. Law will go back through ahead of him. Drive-through penalty given for McKenzie for track limits. Okay, still in the pits. Robinson will go through. Aldori, Vodka should head through as well. Pavisel is coming round. MGK has exited his box now. Pavisel will move in front of him though. Ray will go ahead. Moggs and Andy should go through. So has that played out nicely for MGK? I'm not 100% sure it has done. Staying out that long before pitting in. The undercut has proved to be the effective choice of strategy here at Imola. And McKenzie comes in to get his drive-through penalty done. Or is he calling it a night? I'm calling it the season there. Well, at least I'll move Frank up a position into 20th place. Frank has done all his stops. He's been in the pits for a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane, though. So there's the reserve driver, Cull, going through Ravazza. In the lead by 16.5 seconds over Law. They've both made a pit stop. And there's still a round to come for the top 12 who have yet to pit. Well, I say who have yet to pit, they've yet to come in for their last stops. We're nearly an hour into this one. Normally, this would be the final laps of the race, but not tonight. Still got another half an hour of racing to come. As it stands in the battle for second place in the championship, if Law was to finish second, that would be enough to leapfrog Davis Jr. He only needs to outscore Davis Jr. by 13 points at least. Or 12, I should say, because of countback. To finish ahead of Davis Jr. Although that's MGK I'm looking at. My apologies. Law would move on to 242. MGK is out of the top 10 after his first stop. Oh, he's ninth actually, he's MGK now, so my apologies. MGK with him in ninth position, which I think would give him 24 points. That would put him on to 240, but Law would finish ahead of him. Morris is out of the running now. There's no chance of him coming back from where he is after that stop-and-go penalty. And Vuvka's too far behind as was Freeman and Hutchinson. So Law would finish second, MGK would be third, and Davis Jr. would drop to fourth after his absence tonight. Cull is in for his last stop. Cull is in. Pavisel has done his last stop. Law will go into the lead. Robinson will go into second. How quick will this stop be for Cull? He was one of the early drivers to pit in. I think he either pitted on lap 1 or lap 2. It was within the first few laps of the race. How effective or how quick will this pit stop be? Will need to be the quickest pit stop he's done all season to have any chance of winning this one. Vodka's gone through. Will Ray go through? He will go through. Moggs, Andy, MGK will go through as well. Freeman is just exited with that now. He'll go through. And Hutchinson should go through as well, although Cole has just done his stop now. He'll fall behind Freeman. I think Mackenzie's come back into the pits, and that could well be his race done. Mackenzie out of the race. Well, Law is quite a way ahead of Robinson. He's around about 13 or 14 seconds in front. He's 13 seconds ahead. And we've still got... And now we've got the alternate cameras back, which is good to see. So we can start using these for the remainder of this now. Law continuing to head out in front. Half an hour to go. Who is your money on for victory? Frankie is down in 20th position. Mikowski should move up to 21st because of Mackenzie retiring in the pits. It's been a race to forget for Mikowski tonight and the season altogether. Jay Prentice doing a respectable job in 19th. Lap 35. Law stroking along in the lead, but he's still got a mandatory stop to come. And Clayton is ahead of Cole after the pit stops. So Clayton could be in prime position to win this race. He's 6 seconds behind Hutchison, who's got one more stop to make. Clayton's got good clear track ahead of him. He's got track position. Now Law, should he stretch out this stint until around about 10 to 15 minutes to go, could put together a lot quicker of a pit stop to keep hold of the race lead, but we'll see. Busov still holds the fast side of the race. He's currently in 14th position behind Nils, who's still got one more stop to make. As Frank stays out of the way, he knows he's not in this fight. Ray in 5th, Moggs, Andy, MGK. Freeman, who have not seen too much of tonight so far, is in 9th. And there's Law coming up to lap Pavizel for the first time. Pavizel's made all of his stops. Law still has one more stop to come. So Robinson, 13.5 seconds behind. Aldori is still in touch for a podium position. Vodka and Ray, who's had a better time of it tonight. He's struggled in the last few rounds as Ray. His highest finish since the opening couple of rounds, where he finished third in the Hungaroring and Suzuka. The highest finish he's had since then has been 13th. So far, he could well be on course for a top 10 finish. It's looking good for the team's championship. As far as the Promotion Motorsport squad are concerned, came into this 7 points clear of second place FRL Admin Elite Motorsports. We'll have a look at the order, the genuine order, once all the stops are completed. But at the moment, it's looking very much in Promotion Motorsports' core at the moment, as the clock continues to tick down in what has been a breathtaking season of action in Tier 1 in the Formula Racing League Assetto Corsa Competizione. And what an upgrade it's been on this campaign. I want to call it an upgrade because the quality of the fields have improved, numbers have improved this campaign. Still room for improvement, of course, but there's always room for improvement. You never know with the latest patches of the game as well. If it expands or allows to expand the number of drivers you can have in a race, that'll make the competition better. And by becoming a better driver than what you are, you need more competition and better drivers. This season has certainly not failed. Not failed by a long way. Now, Law is still behind Befizzle, but Befizzle won't be too worried. I don't think Law would be too worried at this moment in time, but he needs to clear that as soon as he can. As Andy comes in for his last stop from 6th place. He'll fall behind Clayton, he'll fall behind Kull, Busov as well. How quick will this pit stop be for Andy? I wouldn't have thought it'd be the quickest one he's ever done. We'll see. We'll tick the clock from the 5-second point on the clock on the screen, so we'll calculate it from there. And it's a very quick one, in fact, by the looks of it. No, it's not yet. I think it was just the car going onto the jacks. And that was done in 20 seconds. So that was a quicker stop. He'll fall behind Morex. He'll fall behind Milden as well. The Befizzle will stay behind, so Andy should get out in front of Befizzle in 17th place. And there's the blue flag's wave. Befizzle allows the leader to go through. Now Frank is behind Jay Prentice. He's a long way behind him, actually. Around about 3/4 of a lap behind him. Aldari's still behind Robinson in the battle for second place on track. There are 11 drivers still needing to make their last stops. 9 of those are in the top 9. Busov still holds the fastest lap. Now, has he been able to improve on what he did before? Let's have a look. He hasn't. His best lap time since then was a 1:43.0. A few laps ago he did a 1:43.2 in the dark conditions as we have now. As he runs wide on the exit of Villeneuve, no harm done. He's ahead of Dim Adjuster, but he's stuck behind Nils. Behind Clayton and Cull, who have made their last stops. So Busov's chances of the win are becoming increasingly slim. If he can get a podium out of this, that would be very well deserved. But I would have thought those who have still yet to stop, I think we're going to be seeing pit stops being done at a much faster rate than what we've seen earlier on in the race. Law will be thinking about that all too well. In fact, he could be rejoining the lead at this rate. In terms of how long the pit stop will take, it'll be at the very minimum 30 seconds. Probably 35, but that could be all what he needs. Clayton. As we watch from the helicam, just see the curves, you can see the front headlights of Clayton going through Tamburello. Most famous for the, well, most infamous, I should say, what happened in 1994 that claimed the life of Ayrton Senna, which brought the world, certainly the motorsport world, to its knees. We lost a huge talent that weekend in May 1994. That was already contaminated by the death of Roland Ratzenberger the day before, during that qualifying session. Nils and Moritz are in for their last stops. They'll rejoin behind for Vissel, who's already ahead of them. Jay Princess will also go through. And Frank is way too far back, so I expect Moritz to be a long, long way ahead of Frank. So Frank looks as though he's going to have to contend with 20th. This one. 40 laps completed. Law not worrying too much. Looking at the gap, he has got over. I'm just trying to see how far Clayton is behind. Trying to work out on the times. He's at least 40 seconds behind his Clayton. Probably 45, probably 50. So I think Law will get out in the lead still at this rate. Coming out of Ravazza. Law not heading for the pits just yet. I reckon a few of these will wait until 2 or 3 laps to go, probably within the final 5 minutes. I think Law has got this race sewn up unless he makes a mistake somewhere. The battle for second place is where it's really at. Moggs and MGK tussling over 6th position. This is a genuine battle. Both have still got one more stop to make. MGK seems to have more confidence in the car than what Moggs has in his Ferrari. through Minerali. Heading towards the Variante Alta. Do feel free to get involved in the live chat if you do wish to do that. It'd be good to know what your plans are for next season. Will you be involved in the other leagues within the FRL? There's a lot to offer. Have a look at the YouTube description and find out how you can get involved. MGK right up behind Moggs. Can he get into the slipstream and have a go here? Don't think he will do on this occasion. He will pile on the pressure, no doubt. Just over 15 minutes to go. Law he's just gone through Minerali. Robinson is a long way back in P2. Now, when will Law decide to duck into the pits? He's not doing it on this lap. Robinson leaving. Aldori's closing in on Robinson. Looks like MGK still tossing it out with Moggs as they go through. Moggs is coming in for his last stop of the race. Now I want to keep an eye on this because he could well be leaving that box very, very, very quickly. Hutchinson's dropped down the order. He's had a spin somewhere. And he's off his marks within 10 seconds. So Moggs will fall behind Busov. Dim Adjuster will go through, but I think he'll go in front of Milden, you know. Because Milden is only just coming out of Rivatsa now. So Moggs, I think, will stay in front of Milden, having to adhere to the pit lane speed limit. Yeah, he's well ahead of Milden. Milden will be right on his tail though, so Moggs will just need to get those tyres up to temperature. And he should start to pull away from Milden. Now Aldori's right behind Robinson and they're coming up to Jay Prentice to lap. So Jay Prentice just needs to be aware that they are there and he does not get in the way. He should stay to the right, although he's changing directions. He doesn't know where to place the car, does Jay Prentice, by the looks of it. Robinson's got through. Will he be as kind to Aldori? No, he won't be as kind to Aldori. Jay Prentice trying to run his own race, but he can't necessarily use that as an excuse when he's holding up the leaders. I think Aldori will get through now, and he does so. Aldori won't be too impressed with Jay Prentice's antics. But sometimes it's one of those things where you just need to knuckle down and get on with it, really. It's done. MGK comes in a lap after Moggs. Now, how quick will his pit stop be? Can it be within 10 seconds like what Moggs has done? Even quicker than that, actually. It is just, but how far is Moggs behind? Well, Moggs is coming through with Vatsa now. I think MGK's got the jump on in here. Milden's right behind. I think MGK's going to get out in front of Moggs. And there is Moggs in the background, but MGK's got more than enough of a cushion to stay ahead. MGK's got the jump. Next man ahead of him is Dim Adjuster, who's a long way up the road, actually. And there's Hutchison. He had that spin earlier. Not looking good for the team who are trying to overhaul Promotion Motorsport in the Teams Championship. And a drive-through penalty's been given to Clayton. So Clayton, who could have been in the battle for second place, has been hit with a drive-through penalty for exceeding track limits. That's a disaster for him. Aldori, Vodka and Ray are in the pits for their last trips. Oh, that's a terrible shame for Clayton. That's the last thing he wanted. So there's your three drivers who've just come into the pits to get their last stops done now. Now Vodka has done his stop and he's got ahead of Aldori. He's done him. So Vodka will get out in front. Clayton's coming in to get his drive-through penalty out of the way. So Cole has got ahead of Vodka. And it looks like Busov is going to get in front of Cole. So Busov is in front, but only just. So that pit stop worked out nicely for Vodka. He's through. He's behind Hutchison, but he's yet to come in for his last stop. Now Cole, who's up there in 4th place. Oh no, it's Vodka who's behind Busov. My apologies. Cole was actually ahead of those two. So Busov is ahead of Vodka into 6th place on track. Law is in for his last stop with less than 10 minutes remaining in this race. How quick will this stop be? It's slower than some of the others. He's done his stop in around about 11 seconds, that was. Robinson goes into the lead for now. But I think Law should do enough to stay ahead of Cole. He may not be as far out in front of the field as expected, but he won't be too worried about that. He just needs to keep his car on circuit. Fremont got ahead of him for now. And yeah, Cole's a long way back. But Law will just take it easy from here on in. It's been a superlative drive. Now Cole, who started the race 9th on the grid, has fought his way up well to get to where he is. And MGK, who's running in 10th place right now, he'll move up to 9th once Hutchison's done. He may move up to 8th because of Freeman. It depends how quick the pit stops are for those three. And Robinson's got a 30-second gap over Freeman. How long will he leave it? He's staying out for another lap, is Robinson. He's going to leave it right to the very end. But this pit stop that he's about to do must be very, very quick. Ideally within 5 seconds. Busov is running in 6th, 5 seconds off Hutchinson. So at least the top 5 finish is up for grabs for Busov. Maybe even 4th. Most likely to be 3rd place. Unless Robinson can put together the quickest of pit stops. The quickest pit stop he has done all season. And Robinson's gone into this round 9th in the championship. As it stands, he would move in front of Hutchinson and Freeman. Possibly even Vodka and definitely Morex. So top 5 finish in the championship could well be up for grabs for Robinson here. Should everything fall within his court. He's got some back markers coming up shortly. So will he decide to pit in this lap to avoid the traffic? He's got a bit of ground to make up still at the moment, so he may decide to wait another lap. Now, the pit window closes in 5 minutes' time, so he cannot leave it too late. Otherwise, he'll be hit with a big penalty or even a disqualification, which is unlikely to happen. It would most likely be a time penalty, I would have thought. Lewis Robinson, pole sitter in Hungary this season. Second place finish at Alton Park. He's not had too much success this season as Freeman comes in for his last stop now. How quick will his stop be? Let's have a look. And he's done his in around about 6.5 seconds, I would say. Hutchinson is also in for his last stop. I think Hutchinson's hopes of a top 10 finish are dashed here because of that mistake he made earlier on. The stop is done in about 5 seconds for Hutchinson. That was actually quicker than what Freeman had done. MGK has gone through, Milden, Moggs, Clayton, and Al Dory's down in 14th place now. What's happened to him? He's had an error at some point during the last stint, and he's dropped back horribly. Disaster for Al Dory. The man who could have been the pole sitter, who could have been in the running for second place in this race, well, he's not going to be in the top 10 by the end of this race. As it's looking now, with only 4 minutes to go. Robinson is in then, so the last driver to come in for his mandatory stop is in. What is this time going to be? Well, we know Laura's going to go into the lead. And he's away now, is Robinson. So Law will go through, no problem. Cool, where is he? There he is. I think he'll get into second place, is Cool. Robinson is at the pit exit there, but Cool will have the upper hand over him. So Cool is through into second place. Robinson will rejoin in third. He'll be on fresher tyres. But there's only a couple of laps to go now, I think. Maybe 3. No, I think next time round will be the last lap. And Law is very much on his way to his 3rd win of the season. Race winner in Paul Ricard, race winner in Watkins Glen. And now close to a 3rd win, this time at Imola, to wrap up the season for him. Robinson's 4 seconds behind Cool, but I think by the time Law has started the next lap, it will be the last one. Let's have a look. It might not be the last. No, I think he's got 2 laps to go, actually, thinking of it. Goes over the line now. I think this is the penultimate lap, so that buys Robinson a little bit more time to catch Cool, but he's not going to have enough time, I don't think. So as it stands with the positions as they are, it's ProMotion Motorsport who will take the team's championship, and Law will finish runner-up to Rapid Duck in the drivers. MGK, who is running in 8th. He's only going to pick up 26 points, which will move his total onto 252. No, 242, my apologies. Law's going to pick up 40. And he's just going to pip him to second place. MGK will be 3rd. Davis Jr. I think he's going to end up finishing 4th unless Vodka. I think Vodka is on course for 32 championship points anyway, which will move him on to 221. Which will not be enough to overtake Davis Jr. So Davis Jr. will drop to 4th after this race, as it stands. We'll go back to Law because he's coming round to what looks to be the end of his penultimate lap, and he will start the last one. 15 seconds to go. He's got a 9-second lead over Cole. Here we go then. The clock ticking down close to 0 now. And 1 more lap to go it is. So he just got over the line before the clock reached 0. What a brilliant drive it's been for Law. Got the move done on Eldori in the early stages and was on trouble throughout. Robinson's closed the gap to 3.6 seconds on Cole. And Vivka's trying to close in on Busov in the battle for 4th place. Dimijusta ahead of Ray. MGK not doing enough to get 2nd place at this rate. Milden's under threat from Freeman though in the battle for 9th place. So the two teammates going toe to toe. And as it stands, Infinite Racing will finish in 5th place ahead of Code Brown Racing. A fine end to the season, most certainly. So we go back to Law. He's coming in through the Variante Alta for the last time. There's a back mark ahead of him, but he won't be bothered about that. It's been a splendid performance from start to finish, and Law is about to end his season and wrap up the Teams Championship for ProMotion Motorsport in style. Law in the Mercedes AMG onto the pit straight, wins the season finale at Imola. Well done to him. A superlative drive from the Mercedes AMG driver. Cole will cross over the line in 2nd place, his best result of the season. What a brilliant effort from him. Robinson comes home 3rd, so he ends what's been a topsy-turvy campaign for him on a high. Busov 4th, another great result for him. Vivka 5th. Dimijusta will hold off Ray. Once he crosses over the line, he'll know that his team have wrapped up the Teams Championship. Ray comes home 7th, his best result for a while. MGK will end his campaign 3rd in the championship, 8th today. Milden will just hold off Freeman right at the end. So what's been a turbulent season for Infinite Racing, for the reasons which I'll mention very shortly. Moggs, 11th, had a Clayton. Could have been on the podium tonight had it not been for track limits. Aldori 14th behind Hutchinson, the pole sitter earlier on. And Babissel will go toe-to-toe with Andy, who's just got in front of him on the last lap. So Andy comes in 15th, ahead of Babissel and Morex. Nils and Jay Prentice will be the last of the finishers. There's your race winner, Law, in the Mercedes AMG. We're just waiting for the last cars over the line. As Jay Prentice has had a dent to his bonnet, but he'll bring the car home in 19th position, the last driver on the lead lap. Frank the last in 20th, or Nicosi was the last driver in 21st place. There's your race winner, Law, here at Imola in the 90-minute special in the Pro category in the Taco Tuesday Series. Cole In second place, very well deserved, great effort with the strategy. Lewis Robinson third, Busov fourth, Vodka in fifth place, had a dim adjuster, and Ray Thomas in seventh. That is enough to wrap up the team's championship from Promotion Motorsport. MGK 8th, Milden 9th, and Freeman rounding out the top 10. We've got Moggs and Clayton 11th and 12th. Hutchison finishing ahead of Aldori, who had a very disappointing end to the race. Andy 15th had a provisional. Morex 17th. He also had a penalty dished out to him for speeding in the pit lane, I believe, or it might have been track limits. Nils 18th had a J Prentice. Frank and McCoskey with the last of the finishes. McKenzie, L Prentice, and Mertens did not make it to the end. So it takes for me to say congratulations to Rapidoc, who wasn't racing tonight, but he had done enough to wrap up the Drivers' Championship in style after last week's showing at Spa. Law's win season finished runner-up in the championship overall, ahead of MGK and Davis Jr. And the congratulations also to Promotion Motorsport, who have won out in the championship in the team's race over FRL Admin Elite Motorsports and the Tuga Racing Team and TK Rex Motorsport, who came close but not close enough to come away with the team cycle in the end. Before I wrap it up, for what's been a breathtaking season, it's a season which is going to be dedicated to the one and only Chris Jones, who we sadly lost last month, taken far too soon. And our thoughts go out to his family and friends. What's been a difficult last 5 or 6 weeks, but he will never be forgotten. He will be remembered within the Formula Racing League for his commitments and the efforts he has done within the FRL. Last season's PlayStation 4 Taco Tuesday champion. We wish you well, rest in peace, and the show will go on, but you'll not be forgotten, Chris. We will remember you for the rest of our lives. It's time to end it there. Thank you very much for watching. Do make sure you like and subscribe. Feel free to check out everything about the FRL in the YouTube description, and we'll look forward to doing it all over again next season for another breathtaking championship battle in Taco Tuesday. I'm Tom Cairns. I'll speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.